I think you've got certainly a question of resiliency in the supply chain, of how far back do countries, do governments need to worry about for the type of infiltration that we saw last week.
Your phone has to be ringing off the hook this morning.
On that, no.
Why not? Why not? I mean,
well,
people are like shattered by this.
A lot of what I'm spending time on is helping companies, helping banks mostly figure out how not to be in the middle of these type of issues where they're not going to be found to have been a conduit to a financed placement of certain things in devices that are civilian devices that obviously were used by people who were not having the best intentions.
Can you do that with confidence? Can you do that with Oliver Wyman? Can you say to a given bank, we can help you avoid these heinous transactions?
I think we certainly can help people understand what to look out for, but the environment keeps changing, and that's really the challenge that companies are dealing with today, is the threat landscape is constantly changing. And sitting in the U.S. for UNGA this week, where you have a number of significant global issues coming to a head, it really makes it that much harder for multinational companies to try and live easily as they execute their business.
Dan, you're head of the anti-financial crime practice at Oliver Wyman. Talk to us about sanctions. Talk to us about U.S. sanctions on, countries not just like, Russia, but also Venezuela. What kind of stands out to you here as we kind of enter into UN week?
Well, I think that's a bit of the question that I'm hearing and that I'm having discussions with people throughout the week is, have U.S. sanctions lost their potency? If I think about before the Iran deal was enacted and then ultimately scrapped, there was a pretty healthy fear in most pockets of the world of being on the wrong side of U.S. sanctions because the fines were substantial. The embarrassment was significant. With Russia, I'm not seeing the same fear. Venezuela, we continue to sanction from a U.S. standpoint. Maduro's still in power. So how do you actually bring the fear factor back to sanctions?